Hi, I'm Larry Mike Arenda, and welcome to this edition of Council Update. With us today is Councilman Bob Creighton from the town of Smithtown. Bob, great to have you back on the show. So many things going on in Smithtown. As you know, we just finished the show with Lynn, and now we're doing all the other council people. Have to start off with, Bob, 5 o'clock in the morning, crashes of thunder, wind, everything. The next day, we think we got hit by a tornado. What happened in Smithtown?
Plenty of crashes of thunder and a lot of damage. Most of the damage was confined to around St. James, Nessaquag, and head of the harbor. There was some up in Kings Park. 25A was blocked off. Fortunately, we were able to deal with the problems rather quickly. Some people were out without power, but that was restored very quickly. So the storm caught everybody by surprise, did do a lot of damage, and a lot of trees were down, and it took a little bit of time to get it cleared up.
Yeah, most of the town teams were coming into work anyhow.
Yes.
So the first thing, it was like, 6:30 in the morning.
Go right to work.
Go right to work.
As
soon as the
But
storm's
it caught everybody by surprise.
and everywhere else on it. I mean, Port Jeff Station. I
Yes.
mean, like the whole North Shore just
Yeah,
got
the North
melted.
Shore really got the brunt of it, I believe, and going towards Setauket, from St. James on out, I think, really.
And the road crews, the highway crews, the parks crews. How did the beaches and the rest of the parks, were they
There was
okay?
not too much of a problem at the beaches. There was no erosion or anything like that. But the major damage was with trees, crossroads, wires, and power loss.
Yeah.
But it was restored fairly quickly.
And was Town Hall safe from that, or Town
Town
Hall
Hall was kind of safe. We have a generator that kept going out, so it worked most of the time, but didn't work all the time.
Yeah, because
But,
especially in the summer with this heat, there's not too many places to get relief except for air conditioning.
Well, the truth is the generator is supposed to work all the time, but it didn't. So we have to
So it's
correct that problem.
So it's another mark it on the list of
Yes,
things to do.
yes.
Also, the road construction that's finally wrapping up in Smithtown.
Well, a
For
lot of
years,
road
everybody's
construction
been saying-
is being wrapped up. Most of, I think, what you're referring to are state roads, which have been in terrible shape,
Right.
particularly Jericho Turnpike. They did major work from, I'd say, around Plymouth Boulevard east through Smithtown, and it took a while to get it done, but they did a very good job on it. On 25A, as you go towards St. James, they still have a lot of work to do there. But that, again, is a state road, and they're working on
Right.
it, and I know they have it planned. In the town itself, the highway department has done a pretty good job. They have we have a road, Old Dock Road. It runs all the way down to the bluff.
Right.
That road has been completed. It's in great shape. A lot of the streets up around Smithtown Pines have been redone, stripped and redone. So they're in pretty good shape. And the highway department is continuing the road program.
Now, I remember going years back, both you and Councilman Werheim were pushing the state to get some of these road improvements done, especially around 111 and some of these heavy traffic areas.
Yeah.
And, wanted to make it more friendly, more pedestrian looking, and you were able to work with the state and the state people to try to get this thing done.
Yeah, particularly Main Street in Smithtown,
Right.
which is Route 25. And there's a lot of bickering about Main Street. Nobody seems to be terribly happy with it. Nobody is unhappy with it.
Right.
People complain about the traffic. What we did essentially is we got convinced the state of New York, instead of doing permanent changes, to do changes with the striping on the road to see if it works the
Right.
way it's set up. And it seems to be working.
Right.
I would like to go beyond and eventually have medians in the middle of the road where the striping is now.
Right.
But the state of New York is not ready for that yet.
Right. Well, the thing is, by doing this sampling, it's a lot easier to change a painted line than it is
Exactly.
to change a median.
Exactly.
So
Exactly, because there was a movement trying to do the median
Right.
in the center. Once you do that, you can't undo it.
right.
You can, but it would be a terrible problem. If we had to change the way it is now, it's not a major problem. But in my view, and there are people who disagree with this, it is working pretty well.
Right.
There is a lot of traffic going through Smithtown, but there's a lot of traffic all over.
So right now, the baby steps are better because by
Yes.
trying these baby steps, testing it, get the input from the public and the community, then move on to the next one and the next one, and
Yeah.
then have the state actually work with you too.
Yeah,
as
well,
the
the state is, you mentioned Route 111 and 347. They've done a ton of work from Brookside Drive out. They're continuing to work on that. And the end product is very good, but it's taking a long time to get it done because it's major work.
Yeah, and it's, so many other things have gone on. I mean, if we go back a couple of years and then we go to Superstorm Sandy and then
Oh, yeah.
the snowstorms, we could go on and on and on about every, it seems like every time you put the building blocks up,
Somebody comes along and knocks them down. That's right.
But it's been an uphill fight, but it's, people in the town are starting to really see things
Some
moving
improvement,
around.
yes.
One of the biggest things I have to say, and people have come up to me, is that the old lumberyard. See you later. Right?
Well, it's improved. It looks better than it does. However, I have to tell you, I'm of the belief that that property should have been developed a long time ago. There was a wonderful plan for what I would call smart growth at that location. That would be stores on the first floor, multifamily apartments throughout in the back, parking on site, and it has been up for, I've been here 8 years. The planning department has resisted, and the man has submitted 8 site plans and hasn't got one in yet, but he's trying again. But it has cleared up the property. At least looks better than it did. But that's a crucial piece of property to attracting new businesses into town. You have to have something there that is desirable.
Right.
And the smart growth portion of it is if you had apartments there and stores on the first floor, parking on site, people who lived in those apartments could walk across the street to the train station, get on the train and go into the city and go to work, and come back on the train and walk across the street, and walk to town if they wanted to go to a restaurant.
And do majority of their shopping right there on Main
It's
Street.
right there. So I believe it's needed in the town. We have to do something to keep our young people here, and also for people who have the empty nest at home and want to move out of their homes. This would be a wonderful opportunity to do that right in the middle of town.
Now this plan goes almost side by side with Steve Ballone and the county's planning, that they're planning for the Ronkonkoma hub. Also, what has happened in Patchogue. Patchogue has been the prime example for
Yeah.
a lot of towns where they flipped around their main street. They did exactly what you were just talking about, and it's a very, very thriving community.
And they've done that in many communities around Long Island. Patchogue is the best example of it. Bayshore, Islip, Babylon. Well, Babylon has always been rather firm. Northport is great, but we are a little bit behind the curve, I think, and we need that kind of construction in town to draw more businesses into the town. And if you draw more businesses into the town, you bring more taxes into the
Right.
town, which reduces the burden on the individual taxpayer.
And brings in more jobs, of course,
Exactly.
and helps the local economy.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times people, well, how's it helping the local economy? Well, that worker will maybe go out to lunch at one of the local places, or stop there on his way home to pick up stuff and like
But
that.
there are some new places in Smithtown that have been built, and they're doing very, very well. Just exactly what you said. Simple places like delicatessens, well done, nicely done, completely renovated,
Right.
and they're doing very, very well. There is a need for new business in Smithtown. We have too many empty stores, in my view,
Right.
and I think we have to work on that, and we have to attract new business.
And again, the reason why that has been so much of a delay is one, Smithtown has really gotten beaten down by the storms during these years. A lot of other things have happened, and taking baby steps with the traffic to try to keep everybody happy. Because it's one thing if a big business wants to move in and they want, there's no way to get in and out. So the traffic, one leads into the other. So it's been an uphill battle, but things seem to be going right in the right direction here in Smithtown.
Well, there has been some improvement, and there are new businesses coming in, which is
Right.
very, very important. There was a brand new store that just opened up. I think they call it the Fresh Market. It's a beautiful store. It's got all fresh produce in there. And it's the kind of store that people will go to, positively. There's a new office building going up as you go out 25 in the village of the Branch. And I don't know if you mentioned before, but there's going to be a statue of Bull Smith
Yeah, I was going to mention that later
right on the corner of Route 111 and 25.
That was going to tie in with the 350th anniversary.
Yes.
So I'd
Yeah,
like to
they're
say
gonna- they're
happy
going
birthday to the town
to
of
the town.
Smithtown and all the
They're going
residents.
to unveil that sometime, I believe, in September. It's all prepared. There's no statue there yet, but there was an article, I believe, today in Newsday about how the statue was manufactured and what it looks like. And it will be in a very prominent place.
I saw the pictures. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it does. It looks good.
And, we just talked about the crown jewels of Smithtown. One is, of course, the Smithtown Bull.
Yeah.
Everybody in Smithtown has a story about the bull, which is
Yep.
really great. And now everybody, hopefully, this next generation will have a new story to tell.
Yeah. And they're
about
at
the-
opposite ends of
Right.
the town. Yeah.
And another crown jewel has to be Hoyt Farm.
Hoyt
what,
Farm
what
is
a
a-
beautiful place.
Hoyt Farm is a very interesting place, a nice, really environmentally sound place that is used very, very often by people in the community. They have shows there in the evening, on the weekends, which are well attended, but the park is used by all residents from all over in the town, and it has places where people could have family picnics. They're used all the time. The place is packed all the time. And it is very, very well kept. It's very nice. They have animals there. The kids like it. It's a nice, safe place for the kids to go in the parks. And it's just a very pleasant and popular place.
Now, when we had Mr. Werheim on the program and he was talking about Hoyt Farm, he was trying to tell everybody that, a lot of people were just under, it's a summer place. But it's
No,
not. They
no.
have the fall,
No.
even winter, spring. It's some
Oh,
really
it's all
great
year
events.
round. It is all year round. And it's a wonderful place just to go for a walk. Simple thing like that. You walk up through the woods and everything else. It really is a beautiful place. But it is very well used, I'll tell you that. It's not overly packed, but it's well used.
And it's a great jewel to bring people and businesses
Absolutely.
into Smithtown because
Absolutely.
these are some of the great things.
Yeah, and they have concerts, and the concerts are like Frank Sinatra concerts one weekend, and then it might be a rock concert the next weekend. But those concerts are well attended. They really are.
And there's really something for everybody at Hoyt
Yes.
Farms, no matter what your age, from
Yep.
5 to 50 to 100.
Yep.
There's something at Hoyt,
Yep.
Hoyt Farms. So if anybody who's watching the program has not been out to Hoyt Farms, it is a true jewel in the town of Smithtown, and I'm pretty sure they would love to see you down there. Great place to take the kids with the fall coming, right, Bobby?
Absolutely.
Pumpkins, and then everything else, apple cider.
Yeah, and they have animals there for the children.
Yeah,
and
it's-
it really is nice. It's a great place.
It's a great time. And, the town also has another beautiful jewel, which is this golf course. A lot of people, they travel for miles to go, to go down there.
I play golf. I'm not a real golfer. I like golf. I don't love golf. But I appreciate a good golf course. Smithtown Landing is a great golf course. It's one of the most well-kept golf courses I've ever played on, and it's a municipal park. It really is. It is a real jewel. And there's a large pool down Smithtown Landing, which is used all summer long, big time. It's a great park. It really is a great park. It's named after Paul Fitzpatrick, who used to be the supervisor, and gets a great deal of play. It's a great golf course.
Now, some golfers have told me that some spots are a little rough on the course. As a golfer, what would you say to that?
You mean as far as, I would say that's not true this year. I've played there twice this year. I think it's in fantastic shape. It's a tough course.
That's what I meant.
Oh, it is a tough course. There's no doubt about it. But it also has, I think, like a jewel. The last hole, the 18th hole, is magnificent. It really is. It's a very, very difficult hole. But if you go over the trees, which I used to be able to do, and I can't do anymore, you can do very well. I had best hole I ever played was on that one, 18. I got a 3 on it, which is unbelievable for me.
Now, a lot of the residents of Smithtown are also welcome to come down to the golf course, as well as the town parks are in great shape, according to Mr. Werheim. He's a former parks commissioner. He knows a lot about them, and we'll be doing something with him up in the future. Now, as far as the town's land use is concerned, you know, we have these parks, we have this. The town has certain pieces of land that right now it's trying to think about what we should do with it and move. Can you tell us a little bit about the land use plan in Smithtown?
Well, most of the land is pretty much taken care of. I mean, there's not too much space in,
Right.
Smithtown. The major piece of land that has not been utilized is what used to be the Kings Park Psychiatric Center, but that is owned by the state of New York.
Right.
Councilman Werheim and I had a plan to try to put recreational space there and get some space to do it from the state of New York. That did not work out, but it really would be a good use. For example, we have a sports complex going in on Old Northport Road,
Right.
which is a great place to have it, but it would be a better location to have it up and off of the psychiatric center's property. That did not work out, and we have it down on Northport Road, and that will improve that area down there tremendously and will lead to additional development down there. The psychiatric center has about, I think, 535 acres, 230 of which is a state park.
Right.
It's going to remain a state park. The rest of it is being cleaned up by the state, and
Right.
they're taking buildings down. And it remains to be seen what they will do with that after.
Right.
But the state owns the property. It's probably the most valuable property on Long Island.
And you know, one of the things is a lot of people don't understand, and they'll say, "Well, why doesn't the town just do something?" State jurisdiction
State-
overrides anything
State
the
owns
town
it.
or the county
The state
can
owns
do.
it, and we can't do anything.
You know, and
You know.
but hopefully, what they're going to do in the future is they're going to work with you and the council and the town to try to come up with something that's going to be beneficial for that land for everybody.
Yeah, there's been ongoing discussion between the state of New York and St. John, the St. John facility, which is an assisted living facility.
Right.
They wanted to build a continuing care facility.
Right.
There's ongoing discussions about swapping property. As a matter of fact, Mr. Werheim and I met with Wayne Horsley, the Parks Commissioner, about 3 months ago. And he said there was still an ongoing process, and we encouraged him to continue that.
Right.
So I really don't know where that is going yet, but it's still in the stages of discussion.
Right. So there's a lot of things there's a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah,
Let's say right
and
now.
and the state is trying to be as cooperative
Right.
as they can, but it takes time to get those things done.
Because Smithtown has been doing a lot of work with the state, as far as again with the roads. We go back to that, and then there, the planning, and then all these other things, and people have to understand these things take time.
Yes, they do.
The Patchogue turnaround took 10 to 15 years before it was fully
Oh yeah, it
fully
was.
done.
That's an ongoing. It's still an ongoing process, and they're still building and apartment buildings going up down there, and it's. I would love to see some of that happen in Smithtown, and that's part of my goal.
And again, this goes back to the Ronkonkoma hub, which I think Smithtown has a piece of that, right? That, it's been talk for like past 6 years, and people are like, well, when are they breaking ground? It's because all these other things, and you have all these towns, because it's Lake Ronkonkoma, that's like the touch point for, I think, Islip, Smithtown, and Brookhaven. And the county and the state.
Well, you're absolutely right. Mr. Ballone is very interested in rail centers, and Smithtown has 3 of them. They have
Right.
Kings Park, Smithtown, St. James. And the ideal is to have what I call smart growth
Right.
near those railroad stations. And we're working on that. We are trying very hard. And I think eventually it will come to fruition.
And if, of course, if Smithtown had the help of the state and the county and something like that, it could probably move things along much faster.
Well, Mr. Ballone has indicated an interest in working with us, very much so.
And, hopefully something will come to fruition with that. But again, baby steps, like we said
Yes.
before. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to keep the flavor of Smithtown.
Yeah.
It's, than that Main Street
Absolutely.
and everything like that.
Sure, you
And
don't want
they-
to change it.
Yeah, they don't want Main Street 5 or 6 WalMarts type of thing.
No.
Looking down there. Why big box stores are fine,
But
you know,
separated and
right,
apart.
separated,
Yeah.
because the Main Street's it's just beautiful when
People are very, very concerned about Main Street, that it's the right architecture and everything else.
Right.
And they should be. And that's what we are striving for. And the plan that I said was in the works, which hasn't come to fruition, fit absolutely perfectly. There was resistance to it mainly from the planning department. The planning department is now run by somebody else,
right.
and I do think that we will have more luck with the next proposal that comes in. I hope so.
And well, one of the things that you and Mr. Werheim were working on was that you were really wanted to get as much community and public input on this as possible.
Absolutely.
So anybody who's watching the program and your thoughts and ideas about Main Street, Bob would love to hear about them, and you'll see that number and contact at the end of this program. But like you said, Bob, just the flavor of that on Main Street, I hear.
Smithtown is a beautiful town. The town is a beautiful town. There are, unfortunately, too many empty stores which have to be
Right.
fixed up and occupied. They should be built in with the rest of the community. It should be
Right.
not something that's ostentatious by any means.
Right.
And that's where the planning department can correct things,
Right.
make sure things are proper.
And we want that Main Street to stay
Absolutely.
aesthetically beautiful. And, it's great to have the mix of old and new, which is like what you have in Patchogue.
Mm-hmm.
No one's saying, rip down the building, put a Walmart or anything like that. But to keep the flavor of Main Street, because everybody I know has their own favorite restaurant in
Sure.
Smithtown.
And they're great restaurants. Smithtown has
Exactly.
got wonderful restaurants. The only position I would take on that whole matter, I agree with everything that's been said there, is that empty space directly across from the town hall should be dealt with. It should have some type of decent architecture in there and should be multifamily housing, which could accommodate the older people and the younger people.
Yeah, because you look at town hall is beautiful.
It's a beautiful building.
When you drive past the Smithtown Town Hall, it screams town hall.
Yep.
It's beautiful. The columns, there's the stuff from the veterans and World War II.
The only thing that doesn't work is the generator in the
Yeah, that's the next thing that's got to get worked on. Hopefully, you guys aren't going to get beat up anymore by the storms.
I hope not.
And with winter coming up, Bob, I know that you've been dealing with the local enforcement and everything like that. You do have a background, I know, in law
Yes.
enforcement, to keep the roads safe this winter and storm preparedness in Smithtown. Very important.
Very important, and the highway superintendent does a good job with that. He really does. He had one unfortunate situation in that 30 or 40-inch snowstorm that we had several years ago, but I think everybody in the world had trouble with that. And he had some older equipment that didn't quite do the job, but in every other situation, the roads in the town of Smithtown, by anybody's standards, are really better than any place else. They are really dealt with. Snow removal is great. Costs a lot of money, but it's done and it's taken care of.
And we also have to thank the Parks Department for keeping the parks
Yeah.
up and running. And,
As a matter of fact,
beautiful looking.
we just invested about $50,000 in, as of now, in 2 parks to completely renovate 2 parks, the ball fields, to make them really suitable for ball playing and for the kids. So that was money that was well spent, and there have been a lot of good comments about the results from it, and we will continue to do that, try to improve the parks.
One of the things I wanted to mention, Bob, just before we wrap up, we're almost out of time, was you, Councilman Werheim, Councilman Norwick, also what they decided to do was say, how could we save some money with employees? And one of the things that came up was this free heart screening now it's going to be going into its 4th year
Yes.
next year, where they came in and all the employees, a great savings,
I think a
no
wonderful
cost to the
savings.
town, and you were spearheading.
Well, you've been very
behind it.
instrumental in that, and we appreciate your efforts in it. And we have done it, and it's a win-win for the people in the town, for the town itself. Heart disease is a very silent killer. You have to, as a matter of fact, today is my 5th anniversary of my open heart surgery, so it's very significant. So I don't know if that's of any interest to anybody, but it certainly is to me. But heart disease is a silent killer, and you have to get checkups. You should get checkups. Most people don't do it. Here we're allowing all the town employees to come in and get a checkup. The doctor tells them, you better be very careful about this. Your diet is off here. Your blood pressure is too high, and points out the warning signs to them. And we therefore can address a problem that might go undetected otherwise.
And to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
Exactly. Right? So it's a wonderful program. And as you say, it doesn't cost anything, which is wonderful, to allow all those people to come in to do that. So we do that once a year.
And then also the fact is that people who work in government jobs usually have a higher stress level. I'm pretty sure you can attest to that.
Well, I wasn't going to comment on that, but yeah, I guess you could say that.
Most government workers do have a higher stress level, and that's why with the free screenings, and it's all electronic, and it benefits not only the town but also the community, because a lot of these people are working families, their fathers, their mothers,
yes.
Sons and daughters,
yeah.
And it just really works
If
out.
you can prevent illness, you're benefiting everybody.
And then also with the healthcare costs are like out of control.
Yeah.
And this is a big plus.
This is a big plus, and it's very unusual. It's free. It's something doesn't happen all the time. It's free, and they can get this workup done, and they come away and they understand now, I have a problem with this or a problem with that, and they will deal with that problem then. That's a very positive thing.
Well, I wanted to thank you for coming on the program. We're basically out of time, Bob. And if people wanted to contact you, they'll see the number and your email at the end of this program. And hopefully we can get you back for the next update and let all the
Be very happy to come back.
Citizens and the community of the town of Smithtown let them know what their council people are doing.
Okay.
So thank you so much for showing up, Bob.
Very nice to be here. Thank you very much,
We hope
Larry.
to see you soon.
Okay,
And
thank you.
we hope to see you soon right here on the Government Access Channel in the town of Smithtown. Take care, enjoy your summer, and enjoy your fall. Take care.
Hi, I'm Smithtown Councilman Bob Creighton. If you have any questions relating to town of Smithtown that you wish me to address, please call me 360-7622 or contact me at the email address listed below. Thank you very much.